special guest, Dick Yardley, the author of Treason, Treachery and Sabotage. So take it away, Dick.
Hi everybody. We're just going to go through how corrupt Queensland is, but what you've got to realise is every state is exactly the same. We'll start with Queensland. This is Queensland, their public functionary seal, and what they created in 1997 when they were turning around and they making a seal for their corporation for their Queensland. Now what we've got here is we've got the Government of Queensland, which is a public functionary seal with a royal warrant. This is an imperial crown, and this is the deer and the brogger were added in 1977, and before that we just had the badge and the top part. In 1997, they created a seal for the state. Like it says here, Corporation Seal of the State, Queensland Government, which is not the Government of Queensland, which is totally, this is our seal for the people of Queensland, and this is for the people, corporation, political parties in their whole system of creating their corporation. Now what they've done is, for a start off, in 1985 they created all states as sovereign independent federal nations outside our state constitution and our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. These corporation seals for the state. This is treasonous political party of the state, no crown and constitutional authority. What they did is they changed the seal, the crown here, from an imperial crown to the royal crown, and then put it over all their acts. Their whole system, they've taken over Queensland under their system as a sovereign independent federal nation. Like there's no separation of powers, Queen of Australia, it's just total treason, and you've got all your acts are done under this seal, your police are under this seal, the government's under this seal, the Governor General's under this seal. It's just gone totally, the whole thing, corporate. Now, this is what they did. Because under their system they haven't removed it, but they don't consolidate, humbly relying on the blessings of Almighty God, which is in our preamble. And every state from 1975, 76 to about 1981, every state and territory has removed the Church of England, which is the defender of the faith, so we don't own our land anymore. And you've got this satanic, treasonous political parties, seal of the state, their Queensland, powers of the state. Now this is their writing. The executive government of the state of Queensland, that's their Queensland, the state, has all the powers and legal capacity of an individual. Now that there is their writing, and it's powers of the state. Right, now this is their seal, their so-called public seal of the state, they call it, with its crown. They've changed the imperial crown to a royal crown. And when the Jersey, he was our Chief Justice, he explained it in his speeches as St. Edward's crown. And because he's tied up with the churches, he's turned around and called it the St. Edward's crown, and now we've got the Anglican Catholic Church. That's what the church is now. So they've removed all our rights. Our land under a deed of grant in Queensland is done under the defender of the faith. So now we don't own anything in Queensland. And this is the same with every state. Now we go down here to the public seal of the state. There's no separation of powers, all under their public seal of the state, first used in 1991 but created in 1997. So you've got all acts are sealed and copyrighted under this seal. The political parties appoint treasonous judiciary, all under this seal. and political party government departments are all under the seal. So there's no separation of powers. This is just total treason by political parties.
And this is for every state, isn't it, Dick?
Every state's, they've done it basically all the same. Okay, now, in 1997, when they created their seal, they also created the badge of the state, around Argentine, and Maltese crosses there, surmounted on with a royal crown. So this is what they created for themselves. If you go to the Statute Law Miscellaneous Provisions Act, Act number 81 of 1997, that is there, and it's under the badge of the state, because they don't say it's the badge of Queensland, but it's the badge of the state. And then you've got Queensland Parliament, which is not our Parliament. It is their Parliament under their system. It's just this. Their Parliament doesn't represent us. It only represents political parties. It's just another form of their treason enforcing their system. Okay, this is what we've got today in Queensland. Now, all states are basically the same. They've changed their seals and fraudulently using public functionary seals. Now, on this side, we just looked at a bigger one of these, the Queensland Parliament. Now, if we go to the other side, we've got a Parliament of Queensland. Now, that means the Parliament of, the of is belonging to, so you've got a Parliament belonging to Queensland. That's our Queensland. This is Queensland Parliament is their corporation Queensland. See, all they've done is change the definition of Queensland here and created seals for their Queensland, and we still should be under our Queensland, because we're not, unless you're a member of political parties, you're not in this system at all. But then they turn around and create their judges under this system as well. So you got the Queensland Parliament, Royal Crown, with dipped arches, and you got the Parliament of Queensland, Crown of the United Kingdom, with the with the lion and the unicorn. The main part of this, the lion and the unicorn, are supporters. The badge in the middle is the authority. Right. They don't recognise that anymore. Then you've got this here, which is the badge of the state, and with Royal Crown with dipped arches, and you've got the badge of Queensland. See, they made everything, and then they make it so small you can't see the difference with these crowns.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing. That's got an imperial crown, which is our link to the British Empire, which they've removed. Every link that we have of law, they've removed. Then you've got here, you've got their public seal of the state, with its royal crown with dipped arches, has been used on laws since 1991. There's no such thing as a law for this. This seal does not represent any law whatsoever.
So I picked up there's some changes in these shields.
No, you mean, yeah.
Like the shovel on this one's on top. The shovel on this one's underneath the pick. The wheat is different to this wheat. The ram's head, there's some slight changes. And this one's got a slight change as well. If you have a look at the hair on the top of his head to the hair on the top of the head on that one. Is that how they get away with being able to copyright it?
No, the main thing with this is they've taken it out of British Empire by putting the Royal Crown on it.
Right.
And that takes it out of the British Empire, then they can copyright everything under it.
I understand, yep.
And that's a private corporation seal.
Yes.
I don't know whether this makes any difference, because the write-up gives it back to the same as this one.
Right.
And if you see some of these, the line's got facing a different way, or different things here and different things there. They're only supporters.
Right, yep.
But in this public functionary seal, that imperial crown is the main thing that they've changed. So under this their public seal of the state, with its royal crown and dipped arches, has been used in law since 1991. That's the year they were using two sets of books to pull this seal through. Like, we were working in the university trying to find all this stuff out, and the university still had, in a lot of cases, this seal, the Royal Coat of Arms on the books.
Right.
But then when you go on the internet, it had this seal on it. So what we did is I was talking to a lady that was in Parliament, and she said, well, if you want something, write me a letter and I'll put my letterhead on it.
Yeah.
And I wrote her a letter, and she got one of her staff to go into the parliamentary library and take photographs for me.
Nice.
And this is when they were running 2 sets of books. They were running some books, the same acts under this and the same acts under this.
Yep.
They were running them side by side and just slowly getting people used to this seal.
Right. Weeding the other one out.
When you have a major system of public servants that have always been under this seal,
Yep.
they were only up into this part, the top part and this part, till 1977 when the Queen, under a royal warrant, put the red deer and the brolga on there.
Yep. Sportive.
But they understood this seal.
Yep.
But then you can't tell the difference when you get an act with this.
No.
It's very hard to tell because this was all blurred when they started off with it.
In 91.
In 1991, yes,
Yep.
It was all blurred, and this one is still hard when you just see it if you don't understand where to look.
What was the first act that the blurry one appeared on?
The Acts Interpretation Act, 1991.
Right.
No, Act number 30.
Yep.
Act number 29 still had the seal on it.
Yep.
So, sort of, they know it's all there. You can just go back and retrace it. Just go into Queensland legislation and go back into 1991. You can still pull it all up.
Which is proof of the treason.
Yes. See, to change this seal, like from that to that, to do this, gives you life imprisonment with hard labour. We'll just go into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But see, in this, they turn around, described in laws from the 5th of December 1997, Corporate Queensland Government, Corporation Queensland Parliament, Corporation Queensland Judiciary. They're all under this one seal.
Yep.
And if you go into their Acts Interpretation Act, in 1992, they turned around and changed Parliament of Queensland to Queensland Parliament for their Parliament, which is total treason, where they turned around and changed it over. Now, this explains it very easily, right? Now, this is the enacting manner and form. A lot of people don't understand. It's be it enacted by the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Legislative Assembly of Queensland, in Parliament assembled, and by the authority of the same as follows. Now, that's an enacting manner and form, and today what we've got is Queensland Parliament enacts, or Parliament of Queensland enacts, or something like that, but it's not. This is royal authority. This seal up here is royal authority.
And they have no authority to be changing any of this, do they?
No, you need a royal warrant. That's claiming a royal warrant for Queensland.
Yep.
Now we have the Criminal Code Act of 1899, which is, you can still pull it up today, but they've all changed it to their system. Now, in our system, which is what I'm showing here, you have punishment of forgery and like offences. Punishment of forgery in general. Section 488, punishment in special cases, public seals, etc. Now this is just copied out. This is I haven't changed anything here.
No
I
alterations.
don't change anything.
No alterations at all.
No. Right, now, if the thing forged, A, purports to be or is intended by the offender to be understood to be or to be used as the Great Seal of the United Kingdom or of Queensland, or Her Majesty's Privy Seal, or any privy signet of Her Majesty, or Her Majesty's Royal Sign Manual, or the seal of the Governor, or any public seal lawfully appointed to be used for authenticating any state act or state. Now, we've just gone through how they've changed this seal and put their corporation seal over all the acts. Now they've also, all our regulations, they went back into the Reprints Act and changed all the seals to their corporate seal. So we've, right, any of Her Majesty's seal or Her Majesty's Royal Sign Manual or the seal of the Governor or any public seal lawfully appointed to be used for authenticating any act, an act of state in any part of Her Majesty's dominions, or is a document having on it or affixed to it any such seal, signet, or sign manual, or anything which purports to be or is intended to be by the offender to be understood to be any such seal, signet, or sign manual, the offender is liable to imprisonment with hard labour for life. Now, they've taken this out because they know exactly what it says, and they started off by taking out with hard labour, and then not long after that they took out the whole thing and rearranged it. So this is our system. The people of Queensland, we have the right under this seal. We don't have any rights under their seal. Now, this seal also sits on our deeds of grant.
Yes.
They've removed, remember I said before, every state removed the Church of England, which removes the Defender of the Faith. And all our land titles are under this and under the Defender of the Faith.
Right.
So that's why we don't own anything in their Australia, which they've changed the definition of our Australia to their Australia.
Their dictatorship.
And they don't recognise the United Kingdom or of Queensland. They've changed the definition of Queensland to their Queensland in a sovereign, independent federal nation, which is outside our state constitution and is outside our Commonwealth Primary Law, Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act. Now, this is all their work. They're telling us. This is the annoying part about it. Nobody reads, and lawyers, barristers and QCs, how can they have a QC in this system? And your lawyers and barristers don't read. And also with all this, remember that the lawyers go to university to learn. Then those lawyers, some of them become judges, and some of them go up the ladder and being high up judges, right? But they're all under this seal, and they're all sitting in private systems. They're not lawyers, barristers and QCs do not represent people. They represent the political party's laws, and that's these laws, not ours. Now, like they say, every state puts this paragraph in, right? Part 3, general provisions applying to acts. Now, the Acts Interpretation Act, some states have it, the Interpretation Act, or they've got different names for it, but it's the definition for their acts. Now, remember I told you in 1992 they changed Parliament of Queensland to Queensland Parliament, which is all under their system.
Yep.
Now they turn around, every state tells you this. 9A for Queensland, declaration of validity of certain laws. Each provision of an act, enacted or purported to have been enacted. Now, before the enactment of the Australia Acts has, and always has had, the same effect as it would have had if the Acts had been in operation. Hang on, I missed a sentence out there. As it would have had, and is, and always has been, as valid as it would have been if the Australia Acts had been in operation at the time of its enactment or purported enactment. Now, what you've got to realise here, the Oxford Dictionary, purport is the verb, appear to be or do especially falsely. So they're basically telling you an act or purported to have been enacted. So they're telling you this is false. before the commencement of the Australia Acts has and always has had the same effect as it would have had and is and always has been as valid as it would have been if the Australia Acts had been in operation at its time of its enactment or purported enactments. So basically they're telling you from the Australia Acts forward, all acts are only purported acts with purported enactments. Like we don't have the Royal Enactment again, we have Parliament of Queensland Enacts, which is just an imported enactment,
Yeah.
and all their acts are under this and copyrighted to this.
Yes.
So then you go down to section 12 of the same Act, Acts Interpretation Act, Queensland. Private acts not to affect rights of others. 1. A private act does not A. affect pre-existing rights in a way prejudicial to the Crown or other persons, or B. imposes liabilities on the Crown or other persons in relation to previous acts or omissions, except so far as the Act otherwise expressly provides. Subsection 2, subsection 1 does not affect rights conferred or liabilities imposed on A person to whose instance or for
Whose
special benefits the Act is passed, or B another person claiming by, through or under such a person. 12A. Public acts amended by public acts do not become public acts. A private act does not become a public act merely because it has been amended by or under a public act. And this is copyrighted the State of Queensland 2024. But it goes back, I've just done this one from that copyright. So they're telling us all these acts under this seal and this copyright are private acts.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Vic, but all these private acts only apply to those of the political parties sitting under their party constitutions. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Right.
That's exactly right. And they're using, see, this is a public functionary seal. Now, if you go to the proper definition of a public functionary seal is used by a governor in council. Now, the governor wears two hats. He's a governor when he's representing the Crown, and when he's representing the executive government, or he's working with the executive government, he's using this seal, the proper one, the public functionary seal, because the executive government is like the education department, main roads department, health department, all those departments that come under the executive government, and you have ministers there which create the executive government. He works with them in conjunction with an act that already has royal assent, so he doesn't have to wear his royal assent hat.
Right.
So then he's turned around, he's work as a public functionary seal, and then they can make regulations within the Act, which already has royal assent, and that allows them to use that, and that's how that works. But see, public political parties have changed our seal of Queensland to their public seal of the state. Remember, it's for the state, which is their Queensland. And like as I said before, the executive government has the power of an individual and legal capacity of an individual. The word power and authority is totally different. He's got no authority, Crown or constitutional authority, to do any of this.
Yeah, I can agree with that totally.
Yes, they don't. There's like it says there, the executive government has the power and legal capacity of an individual.
Yeah.
It's power, not authority. They've got no Crown or constitutional authority.
True.
We've got to learn to read, because that's what it boils down to. They're telling us everything.
Oh.
And see, every governor is under this seal since 1985 forward.
Yeah.
they're put in under the public seal of the state.
Which is totally outside the primary law.
Yes, it's outside the primary law and the primary law of the state,
Yeah.
the 1867 Constitution
Right, yeah.
Act. So, yeah. Right, now you've got old Palachuk here, traitor to the people, stands in front of a treasonous flag. See this flag here? It's the same as that there. Remember in 1997 they created these. Look at Arneson, he's sitting in front of it. Quentin Bryce, she's sitting in front of it. Penelope Wensley, she's sitting in front of it. The Jersey tells us it's a, what is it, he doesn't refer to it as it is in their law. He calls it the, the seal of the, I'll remember it a bit later anyway.
Yeah.
But it's the St. Edward's crown.
All right, yep.
Right, and like I said before, now you have the Anglican, welcome to the Anglican Catholic Church, and they have their system in it, right? So we've gone from their parliament, which is this is total treason. You've gone to the Elizabeth II, Queen of Australia, which is the federal system.
Yeah.
Now, every one of the Jerseys, when he was the Chief Justice of Queensland, all his speeches were under this seal.
Right. Yes. Yep.
He's pushing that point with all his seal. Like in here, he got paid to have this cushy number of the Queensland governor sitting in treason because he took all his courts under this system.
Yep.
Now, when we were fighting in the courts in Queensland and Cairns, at one stage the Jersey flew up. And we thought, oh, that's good. He will teach these bastards up here what the bloody law is.
Yeah.
But he made sure that they obeyed their law, not our law. And that's when we turn around and David Walters handed up Kath Burns' deed of grant into court.
Yeah.
And the judge turned around and says, don't hand that to me in this court because I can't look at it.
Oh, what?
And that was a royal deed of grant. And that's with these bastards have sold us well and truly out. And then you got Janet Young. Now I've got all their commissions, and they're all done under the
Queen of Australia and the public seal of the state.
public seal of the state and Queen of Australia, and also that's all in paragraph 1 of their commissions.
Yeah.
And they've turned around, and then you go to paragraph 3 when you're taking out. Say, like you've got here, Lynne Ford. She's under the public seal of the state, and you go into paragraph 3. They take the public seal of the state off because they put the public seal over the commission, so they take control of the governor.
Yes.
When they go to the next one in paragraph 3, when they go to Arneson, they've taken the public seal of the state off of hers and put it on his. And paragraph 3 shows you that she was appointed by Royal Commission, Royal Sign Manual and Signet.
Yeah.
See, the whole idea was to take the Signet is the authority of the Commission. And what they do is they cover that authority up with their public seal of the state, so they have total control of the governor. And then when they take it off and put it on the next bloke, you see where it is. And later on, we will, if I have it here, we'll show you what they've done. And when Quentin Bryce was put in, Peter Beattie, I have 10 pages of the parliamentary Hansard where he tells you how they put the public seal of the state over the commission. It's all done in total treason against the people. And all these people here are just totally sitting in treason. They're all done under the public seal of the state. And like I keep saying, the state has all the legal capacity of an individual.
So they all know from
They know.
from what you've educated me on and what I've been educated on the Constitution by Wayne Blue. It surely shows to me that every single one of these people know that exactly what they're doing to the people in our country.
Oh, they know. Like, you take a look at even the magistrate Shearer, when I was in his court, he kept saying that and I put treason into court
Yeah.
because I just transferred it forward off our man and the chief cook.
Right.
Right. We transferred the treason to them because we have knowledge of it, and if you don't transfer it forward, you wear it.
Right.
It's a very major thing when you talk with these bastards. You transfer the treason from yourself to them.
Yeah.
Because they know, like I was saying there, the magistrate knew it, and then you've got bloody Lyons, Jones. They were both from the Supreme Court. They knew it exactly when Lyons, because they've changed the definition of crown to state.
Yeah.
This is a dirty thing they've done. They're telling us what they've done. I had Crown Law taking me to court to shut me up. Now, they were sitting on one side of the court and I'm sitting on the other, and I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here? Why aren't you over here helping me?
Yeah.
But they changed the definition of crown to state, so therefore you don't have Crown Law anymore.
They are.
Even though they're just traitors, total traitors,
Yeah.
lawyers. And you've got all these judges like Rackerman, Wilson, Lyons, Jones, Shearer, all these buggers are just, they all sit there and they all know, like Crown Law, when they wiped the floor with me that day because I didn't know the difference of Crown, the common law, when they changed common law of England to common law in their definition of Australia.
Yeah.
They wiped the floor with me in court that day, but when I got home and went through things, they changed the definition of common law from common law of England to govern to common law in Australia to govern.
Yeah.
Which is total treason. And the judge then, Lyons, turned around and Crown Law wanted to charge me on an indemnity basis, which is by three, but all their costs of the court case, they could charge me by 3 times.
And how did they decide that?
Or they were just deciding it because the judge was on, well, the judge and them were together. I was the idiot and the other side. So then the judge said to me, what do you think about that? And I said, I don't give a damn what you do, I'll take it straight to the High Court. And the Lyons just turned around and said, you'll do no damn good there either. Because the High Court, all our courts are under political party and under political party control. Now, if you go into when, I've forgotten his name, he said when he was Chief Justice of the High Court, he said we do so under parliamentary supremacy. And he just told us straight. Political parties control us, and that's exactly what they're saying here. And all with all the seals, they're all controlled by the political parties. We don't have a Crown Court. And then when you look at it, the Federal Court in 1973, when they created their own sovereign independent federal nation, that was, if we had Crown Courts and they were the guardians of the constitutions, they would have been screaming their heads off.
Yes.
But you can't have a Crown Court in a sovereign independent federal nation, and you can't have a governor representing the Crown in a sovereign independent federal nation.
Yeah.
So you can't have deeds of grant representing the Crown, protected by the Crown in a sovereign independent federal nation. That's why they've changed all our deeds of grant and everything to their system.
Criminals.
It's total treason, the whole system. And all these, including bloody Walter Campbell, because he was the one that put in the Australia Act Request Act.
Right.
I'll just read this through. The above 6 so-called Queensland governors all sold their souls to the treasonous political parties. Now this is factual. All appointed by public seal of the state has taken ownership of the Crown. Therefore, all 6 governors sit in treason. These treasonous governors have no Crown and constitutional authority. Therefore, can't give royal assent to an act. All states are the same. That's why every state parliament tells us all acts from 1986 forward are only purported acts with purported enactments. Walter Campbell was the so-called governor of Queensland that sold his soul to the treasonous political parties and enacted their Australia Acts Request Act 1969, number 1960.
Yeah, number 69.
Number 69. and purportedly gave it royal assent. Now,
So
that's total treason.
we were talking earlier, Dick, about how they removed the governor out of the Australia Acts Request Act.
Yes, what they did is they changed the governor's definition to the governor. They still call him the governor in the pretense that he's the governor, but he's representing the executive government. That means under our law, he's only the governor and council, because you can't have the governor representing the crown. So you had to change his definition.
Yeah.
So you have the governor now working with the government, and it says any person representing the governor.
Right.
So if I'm sitting in Parliament, I could be the governor for the day.
Yeah.
When they're using the word any, it means anything, anybody.
Which is treason.
Yes. Because they're all put in, like as I say here, under the public seal of the state.
Yeah.
I have all their commissions. And they're all done exactly the same. And when this clown, this Jeanette Young, was put in, we have the video of them saying exactly what's on the commissions.
Yes.
Which she's put in under the public seal of the state. And when you go down to paragraph 3, and then when she's taken over her office and they remove the seal from the one beforehand, they take the seal off the jerseys and put it onto her. But when she goes out, they'll take the public seal of the state off and it shows the signet and put it back onto the next one.
Right. This is the channel that we made to get Dick's work information and research out to the people. Will it lower? Yep. Whereas the people. We did start it off as exposing the great Australian government, but we changed it to whereas the people, to keep it fitting with our primary law.
That's the first words of our primary law, is whereas the people. Like a lot of people talk about the American way.
We the people.
We the people. But no, our constitution, which is better than theirs, is whereas the people. There's a big issue in Queensland here at the present time. We've got the fire ant people, and they're using the Biosecurity Act of 2014, Act number 7 of 2014. Now, as it says up here, this act has got no authority over our land. It's only that they've taken ownership of all our land that this act has authority, which is total bullshit. It's total treason what the government has done.
Yeah.
Like, this is their corporation seal, total fraud. Biosecurity Act 2014, Act number 7 of 2014. Now here you got the Parliament of Queensland enacts. That's not an acting manner and form of royal assent. This Queensland belongs to the satanic, treasonous political parties. Now I always use the word satanic because they don't recognise, or they don't consolidate our main law, primary law, which in our preamble says humbly relying on the blessings of Almighty God. In 1973, when they changed the enacting manner and form, they removed Her Most Excellent Majesty, and if you go into our annotated constitution, those words must be on to get royal assent.
So that's where they removed God?
Yes, they removed God, but they haven't taken it out. What they do is they don't consolidate it forward.
Right.
And then, as I said before, every state removed the Church of England,
Yeah.
which is our God under our state constitutions and under our primary law as well. So they removed that, and also our land titles are done under the Defender of the Faith, which is under Her Most Excellent Majesty as the Defender of the Faith.
Yeah.
So they removed all that. So now these treasonous bastards here have taken ownership of our land, and that seal is what they have on your certificate of title today of your land.
Which means nothing.
Which means they've just taken it over, and you are paying rent. You're only
a tenant.
A tenant on your own land.
Yeah.
And we've worked all our life for our land, and
we don't own.
We don't own a damn thing, because under this system they've taken ownership, and the police are under this system as well.
Yes. Yep.
And we go into here, commencement. This act commences on a day to be fixed by proclamation. However, if no day has been fixed by the 1st of July 2016, the act commences on that day. That's not Crown authority. That's not royal assent. Now, I can make you a proclamation for this act,
Yeah.
but I can't give you royal assent for it because royal assent means it's got to be done by a governor representing the Crown. This is just a proclamation done by a political party to screw us over. This is no Crown and constitutional authority, right? Number 3, Acts Interpretation Act 1954, Section 15DA. Now that 15DA does not apply to this act, but 15DA says if the act doesn't commence this year, it'll commence next year, or if it doesn't commence next year, they can add another one and another year to it till it commences.
Right.
All they're doing is just removing royal assent. 15DA was only a way of getting around royal assent.
So
And
it's
using this part here, however, if no day has been fixed by the 1st of July 2016, the act commences on that day. So they're telling us there's no royal assent.
yeah.
All we've got to learn is what they've done.
So
And then it's copyrighted. So this whole thing
is theirs.
is theirs. It's got nothing to do with us and our deed of grant. It's only the only thing that they've got is the system of theft and treason.
Yes.
And because they've removed the Crown, that is major treason.
So would I be correct in saying that here's your law, this is what it is, whether you like it or not?
This is what they're saying. Yes.
Yeah.
And the cops are pushing that point. And they're the dumbest of the lot because when they turn around and pushing this point, and these clowns in this bloody Biosecurity Act are pushing this point,
Yep.
they're selling themselves out at the same time.
And their families.
And their families and
Yep.
their children and their grandchildren, the whole lot. Like the cops are under this, and the cops today have to write a contract, are under contract.
Oh, wow.
So you've got this whole system where, and cops aren't, like a friend of mine, his son went through the police academy when I was fighting over land titles and whatnot,
Yeah.
and he was asking questions in the police academy, and he got just told to sit down, shut up, you'll learn on the job. So you've got a cop coming out with a uniform, guns, tasers, all the bullshit they come around with, and they've got no brains between their ears.
Yeah.
They just, all they do is say, you've got to jump, and all they do is say, how high?
So order
Yeah.
followers.
Yes, that's all they are. They've got a uniform and factual system. A cop is just a costume-wearing, pedophile protecting, political party mercenary.
Yes.
That's all he is.
I agree, 100%.
And they've got no authority. They've got power because they've got a gun there, and they'll turn around, hit you with pepper spray,
yeah.
or all this sort of thing, arrest you. They don't have the authority to arrest. They've only got the power of kidnapping
Yes, I agree.
because they've got
yes.
no Crown authority whatsoever.
Yeah.
He's just a piece of shit used by political parties for their gain and their court's gain
Yeah.
to enforce treason. That's all he is.
While all these politicians and bureaucrats and judiciary of the top rankings are all getting wealthy.
Yes, yes. Okay, now, this is an act. This act has no Crown and constitutional authority. The satanic treasonous political parties tell you that these acts are private acts. These satanic treasonous political parties also tell you that all their so-called acts after the Australia Acts are only purported acts with purported enactments. Now, we went through that on the other one.
Yeah.
All these so-called police are only costume-wearing, pedophile protecting mercenaries, jumping to tune for their masters, satanic treasonous political parties which are not within our primary law, Commonwealth of Australia, Constitution Act 1901, as proclaimed and gazetted under the Royal Coat of Arms. Now, when you go through this is I write this up because of the simple fact is they've copyrighted 9th of July 1900 and then put their corporation seal over it.
Right.
But they can't do that with the Royal Coat of Arms. So that's why they copyright all this part and then put their corporation seal on it.
Yeah.
Which is, again, treason because to remove royalty out of our constitution is treason.
And they all thought they were going to get away with this.
Yes. Now this is just something that was sent to me a long time ago, but it fits. I'm afraid to say it just fits the so-called police force today. This is a recruiting people to become police. Small penis, lack of confidence, bullied at school. Then why not join the police? You'll get to use the phrases such as, I am the law. Respect my authority. Tell it to the judge. And this is exactly what they do. Like, for quite a while there, before we had the last referendum on The Voice, if a cop pulled you up and you started quoting law to him, he'd turn around and say, oh, you're one of those silly bastards that believe in the Constitution, are you? And I know other people have gone into police stations and tried to talk to the cops about the Constitution, and they eventually get told to leave because we're not under, or they don't want to talk about the Constitution. But the Constitution is our primary law, and all cops should know it and know our state law constitutions.
Yes.
And, and like here, knowledge of the law is not needed and actively discouraged. Training includes practical steps on how to manufacture consent to statutory laws, intimidation techniques, and legally speak. Below average intelligence and absolute obedience to authority as is mandatory. And that's what our law is. That's our cops today. I'm not individually. There's a lot of good men going in there trying to be honest.
Yeah.
But this is what they end up as being.
Yeah, I agree.
And you'll find in today's world, every state is very short of police because all the good ones, or most of the good ones, have left.
Backing out.
And you've got the thugs that enjoy being thugs.
With their egos.
Yeah, their egos, sadistic bastards.
Yeah.
And they'll throw you on the ground and kick that shit out of you. And you just got to take a look at what happened in Melbourne in COVID, how those cops were treating people there.
Yes.
And they had special thug mobs to do the thuggery.
Dressed in military outfits.
So, sort of police today are just pieces of shit.
Yeah.
No respect whatsoever.
Shall we go and eat?
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll leave it there for a while. I don't know how to turn this around. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know. But we'll leave it there for now. And if Dick's up for it, we'll come back again and have another go with some more information. So all the best, guys, and we'll talk shortly.